Hello and welcome to this week's AMA video. I've got two more questions for you. So the first question I've got is about SEO, which is search engine optimization, and the second question that I've got is about microphones, what I use and what I would recommend. So the first question and SEO. The question was, what is SEO and do I need it? So as I said, SEO is search engine optimization, and it is how you show up on the internet. So yes, you do need to have a think about it and understand it and do what you can to improve or have a good SEO. So I'm going to talk mostly about Google. It is how you show up on the internet in search engines, full stop. But I'm going to talk about Google because Google's obviously the biggest one and the one that most people use. So what happens is Google has what it calls spiders, and the spiders go out and search the internet for information that's relevant to your business, bring back all of those results, and then Google uses those results to then reference how you're going to show up in the search results. So what kind of things you're going to show up for, and what information is going to be displayed as a result. And there's a few things that you can do that's really, really simple. So I thought I'd give you a few little tips and tricks so that you can see whether you do it already or whether you could improve on your SEO. So the first one is Google itself. So Google My Business is effectively you putting information into Google and saying, this is the information about my business. If you haven't got a Google My Business account, then you need to go and set one up, and you need to put your information in. So this, I'm going to give you examples from Refresh Minds My Business. This is my Google My Business account. Let me move my head. And then down this side here, you've got information. This is also how you appear on Google Maps as well. So you put your information in here, and the one thing that is really important that I tell you at this point is about NAP, which is name, address and phone number. So one of the things that Google uses is those things, the name, address and phone number, and if it's different in any way, it presumes that you're a different business. So make sure that whatever information you put in Google My Business is exactly the same as whatever information you put elsewhere in terms of any references to your name, your address or your phone number. So for this, for example, I put terrace rather than TR. So I always put terrace, I don't ever put TR. And it might be the same if you've got street or road. If in Google you put RD for road, then everywhere else put RD for road, for example. Equally, your telephone number, if you put 5 digits as your code and then the rest, a space and then the rest, then you want the spacing to be the right in all of the places that you put it. So just decide what you're going to do and then keep it the same throughout to make sure your name, address and phone number are all the same. The next thing about SEO is your website, because your website is a great opportunity to put your information, and obviously it's one of the things that's going to show up the most in searches. So my website is a WordPress site, so this example is from a WordPress example, but you might have Wix or Squarespace or Weebly or something like that. In the back end of your website, in the settings, there will be options for SEO. It just depends on what settings there are, depends on what system that you use. So for me, what I do is I have a plugin which is called Yoast on my website. That's how you spell it at the top there, and this gives me general features in terms of helping me to maximise the potential of my SEO. The biggest thing that it does is on the pages of my website, if I go to a home page for example, it pops up underneath here a Yoast section. It gives you some smiley faces to say whether you're doing well or not. You use a key phrase, so in here you can use, this is my home page, so I'm going to use my business name. You can decide how it's going to show up in Google in terms of mobile and desktop. You can also look at this bit, which will tell you some of the things that you could improve and some of the things that are really good about your particular home page. So that is where you would go to get an idea. There's also a social tab, and this here is where you can put what is going to show up on Facebook and what's going to show up on Twitter. So you can say this title, this description, this picture, and that's the information that it would then drag through if you were going to post something on Facebook. So make sure that you've got your SEO settings in your website set up. I want to show you something on my refreshed mind site. The other thing that you want to look at is keywords. Now, the reason that you look at keywords is because part of the Google algorithm is all about how much of an authority your website is in a given area. So keywords are really important for that, because it's what people are going to type into Google. So here you can see from my website, it works in hierarchy as well. So you have what they call a H1 and a H2, which is heading 1, heading 2, and you've also got your kind of categories up here and things like that. So the higher up your menus and the higher up your settings with your headings, those keywords have greater clout than if it is, say, just in paragraph text. But they all count, and this is one of the reasons why blogging has become popular, is because blogging gives you an opportunity to tell Google that the website is regularly updated, which is another good point, and also that the website gives you an opportunity to say the words, those kind of keywords, over and over. So here, for example, I've got anxiety, chronic pain and stress illnesses right here at the heading, and in my menus I use keywords. So I could just put chronic pain here, but I could put chronic pain solutions because that's a better keyword. It's more likely that people are going to type that into their Google search. Equally, as you go down on your pages, look for opportunities again, same keyword again, and put in the kinds of things that I work with, so that then it's more likely that Google's going to understand what my website's about and show me up in the relevant searches. Another little sneaky tip is in my footer at the bottom, I've just created a little paragraph that's packed full of those same keywords again, so that then it's another opportunity to get those across and for Google to pick those up. So have a look at your website and see where you can kind of just tweak it. With your website, you are catering for two different audiences. So the first audience is people, i.e. your clients, the people reading your website, and the second audience is the robots, is the spiders that trawl your website. Now, if you created a website that was purely SEO maxed out to the top, it's likely to be very bad for your human readers and difficult to read. And equally, if you just purely created a website that's just purely for the readers, then it's probably not going to rank high in terms of SEO. So it's about just doing things to make sure that you balance those two things together. So I hope that's given you a few ideas in terms of SEO and what it means and certain things that you can do. So the next thing is about microphones. So as you all know, I'm a bit of a tech geek. So I have 3 microphones, which I'm going to get out for you, and I'll go through each of the options and just tell you a little bit about them, and then you can kind of make some decisions on what you like or what you want. Okay, so here's the 3 that I have. The first one that I bought was this one, which was a Perception 120. I don't think they actually make this exact one anymore, but they'll make one similar. And what I'll do is I'll put the links to, I'll find a similar one to this, and I'll put the links to all of these on the email, but also on the video, so that then if you want to have a look at any of them, you can. So this one was a bit more expensive. It was probably about £100 or something like that. It's good for general all-round use, good for PC, good for Mac. It has some settings on it which, to be fair, I never used, so it's probably a little bit more advanced than what I needed, but it served me well for many years. I used this one for for years and years and was quite happy with it. So this is the microphone bit. This is the stand that it comes with, and then you have a wire. It's a USB microphone, and like I said, that did me very well for many years. Then what I wanted was a lapel mic, so then you could mic it up and then you could walk away from the laptop and still have really good sound. So this is the one that I bought, which is a radio mic, a lapel mic. So this is what you get. You get your little radio bit, your mic, and the USB, which then goes into the computer. I played around with this for quite some time. It's probably complete user error, but I just can't get it to be good quality sound, and I'm not sure why. I want to revisit this and kind of play around with it for a little bit more, but at the minute I don't use this one because I just can't figure it out. It seems a little bit more complicated than just like the plug and play ones, but I will have another play with that and see if I can get that to work. This one is the one that I use most, which is a Klin one. This is the one that I use now and use most often. It works brilliantly. I have no complaints. The reason that I prefer this one is just purely out of laziness. So here it is. It's already got a base. It literally sits on the desk. I just plug it in and it's got an on and off button, and I just switch it on when I want it. And for that reason, it's the easiest microphone I've got, and the one that I generally use most of the time. It was cheaper as well. I think that one was about 30–40 quid, so it was a cheaper option. So I hope that's given you a few options. In terms of what you would choose, it depends what you want it for, it depends on what you would use it for, it depends on the features that you want. And you can pick up great microphones for a reasonable, cheap amount of money. So you can obviously pay lots and lots of money for microphones, but for me, these work for what I want to do with them. So I hope that's given you a few examples. So hope you've had a great week, and next week I will come back with a few more questions for you, and have a lovely weekend.